Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy, T Magic, with those fantasy fools, back with those Play Now Online tips once again. We're going to tier 1 today. We're going to be using the Toronto Raptors, and we're going head to head with the Golden State Warriors. Now, I guess they updated the rosters because, as you can see, Boogie is not on the team, or at least he's not starting. So this should provide a bit easier of a matchup, but can't take anything for granted. So without further ado, let's get this thing going, man. With the Raptors, it's going to be all about your defense and your pacing. Alright, they could defend 1 through 5. That pass was not intended for him, and that's why you got to watch out for bad turnovers. But you want to be playing good defense, and you have the personnel to do that. So take your time and try to get good shots on offense, and then play solid defense on the other end, and you'll be rewarded. Now this game, I'm going to go Valanciunas, especially early on, trying to establish pace. And the reason I'm going with Valanciunas, I have Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard is the best player on the team, but I'm always looking for the path of least resistance. And what I mean by that is I want to find the easiest matchup for my team every time I play. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that my stick skills are not the best. Definitely not the best. And if you've seen in my previous videos, you can definitely see that when I'm playing. But where I do feel like I have an advantage over most of my opponents, and where you can take advantage of most opponents, is just by having good basketball awareness, good basketball IQ when you're playing, and by just executing and making smarter plays and making smarter decisions, you can put yourself in position to win a lot of the games that you'll be playing online. Because a lot of the guys you're playing against are just kind of running around, taking advantage of the game's faults, so to speak, and they're not really playing basketball. So just the fact that you are playing basketball will help you tremendously when playing against another opponent online. We tried to press, a half-court press, and this actually led to a lot of problems in the first half. And the reason I was choosing a half-court press is so that I could take away any early three-point opportunities, especially from Steph and Clay. And I guess Clay is Michael Jordan now. But I was trying to take away the early three-point opportunities, but what it ended up happening was it led to a lot of easy backdoor opportunities for his team with early scoring chances. So I didn't actually adjust it till the second half, but that was one of my adjustments early on, to take away the three, which worked. But also I put Kawhi on Steph, and now with the Raptors, they actually start on Anunoby. But for the Warriors, I switched him out and put Danny Green in there because I wanted another elite defender out there on the perimeter and trying to defend the Warriors. And offensively, again, I'm going to Valanciunas. I don't even know. I didn't learn about this guy until opening night. I think it's Damon Jones is his name. And from what I've seen, he's athletic, but he doesn't really provide much else outside of that. As we missed a fadeaway three. Usually Leonard is cash on that fadeaway jump shot. But I guess Kevin Durant's length is causing him a little bit of problems on that. But yeah, Damon Jones, I think they played the Thunder, and Steven Adams ended up having like 20 points on him. So Valanciunas is much more skilled than Steven Adams is on the offensive side of the ball. And I think he is pretty much underrated as a player. He has a good post game. He's big. He's strong. He can shoot the mid-range jumper. He has range from deep. So if you're using the Raptors, you know, if you can't get Lowry going, if you have a tough matchup with Kawhi, like right now I do with Durant, use Valanciunas if there's a big out there that you think you could take advantage of. Now, if I was going against the 76ers, I probably wouldn't be going to Valanciunas because he's dealing with Embiid. If I was going against the Celtics, I again wouldn't be going to Valanciunas because I had to deal with Horford. So, but with this team and the center that they have now, since Boogie Cousins is taken out of the roster, you should be able to abuse whoever it is at center almost the entire game, unless your opponent ends up switching and taking Draymond and putting him at center. Then you might have a little trouble, but again, that takes basketball acumen, and most guys you go against aren't thinking in that way. They're not thinking like you. So you're trying to play chess while the other guy's playing checkers. And with Kawhi, most times when I'm playing with him, I'm trying to get him down in the post. Like I said, that turnaround post-up fadeaway he has is pretty money. But this game, that hasn't really been bearing into any fruit, so to speak. So decided to go with the pick and roll, get him involved that way to see if I can get him going. And we were able to get a dunk that he missed, but that was a good shot for him, and most time he's going to finish that play. That was perfect pick and roll defense on Steph Curry right there. He tried to use the pick to get Steph free, and instead of trying to hustle to get around it, I just stepped up and picked him up with the big, and that completely threw him off, and we got an easy turnover leading to 2 points on the other end. Again, using Kawhi on the pick and roll, got that shot for Van Vliet. Draymond shooting long twos, that's what you want out of this offense. If you're doing that, if Draymond's the one taking shots, trying to finish plays, you'll live with that playing the Warriors. And you see just from that bad decision on his end, like he just said, you heard in the commentary, it's an ill-advised shot. We got an easy look on the other end. So always be trying to look for good shots. It'll help your defense by looking for good shots. Again, we're using Kawhi differently. Instead of trying to post him up, that time I had him a little floppy action to get him free off the off-ball screen there.
2-second difference between shot clock and game clock.
And on this side, you just see him. He's not really doing anything aside from trying to drive by, and he's getting bailed out because it's Durant. And that's one of the reasons I actually kind of like the tiers, because you're kind of forced to play with teams that might not be elite. There we go. That was a good alley-oop right there. But with the non-elite talent, you can't play like this, and it's not effective. It's just only effective because of Durant. And he could be so much better. I should actually be saying that most people that use the Warriors would be much better if they actually just ran some offense, because you combine that with their skill set and you're getting good shots all the time, and that'll be efficient offense, and there's not too many teams out there that are going to be able to compete with that. Just like in real life, and you'll just blow through people. I'm probably going to end up doing a Warriors video just because, and just have a little fun with it. But as he started the second half, I'm going back to Valanciunas, going back to the well. He has Jarepko out here guarding him, and that's what I mentioned earlier. Valanciunas has the ability to step out and hit that shot. He doesn't shoot too many of them, but he was like a 40% three-point shooter. So if you get an open shot from Valanciunas, take it. A lot of people don't know that. Again, it goes back to knowing your personnel. Right there is something I pointed out in my previous videos, and that when you take a shot, you want to make sure you're ensured good floor balance. And you ensure that by taking the shot and not waiting for it to go in, not waiting to see if it misses, not waiting for an offensive rebound. After you take that shot, hurry up and get back. That last play before this one, where I took the shot with Danny Green and missed it, I didn't do that, and then Clay was up the court by himself. He got a wide open jump shot. I was just lucky it wasn't a three-pointer. My man Kawhi in the open court. I think a lot of people forget how good Kawhi is. Look at this as he rips Steph. Get another easy two. And this guy should have taken a timeout at this point. Use your timeouts, man. Use your timeouts. It'll help stop runs. And look at this, another turnover. And another dunk with Kawhi. He should have called timeout a long time ago. But I think people forget how good Kawhi was. This guy was a Finals MVP when he was 22, and that's playing on a team that had Duncan, Ginobili, Tony Parker, and he was the MVP when he was only in his second or third year in the league. And then he was dropping like 40-point games repeatedly before he got hurt in that series against the Warriors. So you combine that with the fact that he's a two-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's like the only perimeter player outside of Ron Artest in the last 15 years has won that award. That was 15 years ago. Ron Artest won Defensive Player of the Year. Ever since then, it's been all bigs. So that shows you the type of talent that Kawhi Leonard has. So that's your guy, and I use him on both sides of the floor. So like I said before, I'm gonna put Kawhi on the other team's best offensive player, or the biggest offensive threat I see on the other team. This game it was Curry, but in other games it might be Kyrie, it might be Simmons on the Sixers. It just depends on the team that you're playing. And it might seem like a bit of a cop-out. Me personally, I don't care either way. I don't care if my opponent is guarding me every time I pass the ball. I don't care if he's playing off ball the entire time. That just does not matter to me. And when I play, as I mentioned in my Lakers video, I'm going to let LeBron do LeBron. I'm never going to switch into him on defense. I'm going to let LeBron do LeBron. I'm going to let Kawhi do the same thing. I'm just going to let Kawhi play and be Kawhi. And then with that, I'm just going to bring help when I need to. I'm going to D up everywhere else, but Kawhi is an elite defender, and I'm just going to let him do his own thing. Here they got CJ Miles in the game, and that's where I'm going to go with the ball because there's no Kawhi, there's no Lowry, and Valanciunas are all out the game. So I mentioned in one of the videos, I think it was my Cavaliers video, where if you have a shooter, get him going. That's where your offense should be running through if you don't really have any other better option out there. And even if you do, just to kind of mix things up, start running some plays for the shooter. On this team that I have right here on the floor, that's CJ Miles, so I'm going to call it again. The same play that I ran just earlier, because he got an open shot and he just didn't knock it down. And CJ Miles is a knockdown shooter. You see this time, look how far out he was. Just missed it. And you can count on them eventually knocking those down, so don't shy away from it. Let's get him with the up fake. Drive right to the rim.
And now here comes Jones leading the break.
Look at this. Steph, now he's pressing with Steph. Steph has been out of rhythm the entire game. So look at this, 2 out of 7. That's good defense. And that's because I extended my defense out with the half court press. And then I had Kawhi on him in the half court. And I actually switched it up in the second half. You don't see that in the video, but in the second half I took my defense out of the half court press because as I mentioned earlier, we kept getting beat behind us, so to speak. So I'd score, they'd take the ball out, and then they'd beat us down the court because we couldn't keep up with Durant in the open court. So I switched my defense out of that. I just went with the standard man-to-man defense. Boom, as we go to CJ Miles again off the floppy action. And take time to let the play develop. Like right there, the first look for CJ Miles wasn't open. And I just waited. And he went off another screen. And he got an open look. It wasn't a three-pointer, but it was a good open shot that he was able to knock down. But I also, on defense, I switched my focus to no threes. And that has everybody out there on the perimeter staying tight to their man with minimal help. And look, good contest. And you know he's trying to get threes at this point. He's down 6. He's trying to get threes. So you want to be pressed up on them the entire time. And again, Valanciunas being left by him, who's been playing center almost this entire game. Be mindful of your personnel on the floor, on the other side of the floor. Again, a bad shot. You can get that shot at any point in the game. You don't need to be taking that early in the shot clock. The Warriors have great plays that will get shots open for Clay, Steph, Durant. It's unnecessary to be taking shots like that right there, where you just catch the ball, move in a certain way to hope that the defender gets out of your way, and you'll get what is technically an open shot. That's playing video games. It's not playing basketball. You can have the advantage by playing a little bit differently and being efficient by running your sets on offense. So we're going to close this out with another example of bad offense. One shot pass, man right in his face, no off ball movement, nothing on ball to create any separation, and leads to a bad shot. And we're going to end up getting the dub. So if you found this video helpful or enjoyed the content, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll be doing more videos like this in the future. We're going to try to get around to all 30 teams and maybe even throw some classic teams as well for the Play Now Online tips. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. I'll catch y'all next time, man. Enjoy the games. Peace.